Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, in the first international seminar on machine learning, optimization, and data science as Ismode, I will present our work entitled Multi-Attribute Group Decision Making using fuzzy numbers at arithmetic intervals for determining thesis examination. Let's introduce our team. My name is Edi Winarno, and on behalf of our group, which is Mrs. Wiwin Hedi Kurniawati, Mr. Siawan Ibisono, and Mrs. Ninita Septiarini, we are from Ismode Universitas Semarang and Mulawaraman University. Decision making is currently still a field of research that is widely studied by researchers. This is because the field of decision making is needed in many aspects of life. The decision making process makes it easier for decision makers to make decisions on complex problems. MADM, or multi-criteria decision making, and group decision making, or GDM, are two approaches that are widely applied to solve decision making problems to find the best alternative. Many applications of multi-attribute decision-making techniques to various problems show that this technique is suitable and can be used efficiently. In this research, we use multi-criteria decision-making (MADM) to solve the problem and the assessment of thesis examination that inform a large number of examiners. Thesis examiners have opposing viewpoints. Despite the fact that the assessment parameters are the same, each examiner can provide a different standard of evaluation. Exam failure is an important problem for students and educational institutions, including the result of the assessment of the examination. To obtain a bachelor degree, student must pass a thesis examination, and when a student conducts a thesis or final project, there are several examiners who will assess. There are generally three people who will give an assessment. There are the chief examiner, and then examiner 1 and examiner 2. The three examiners, of course, have different assessments. Further evaluation is carried out. Evaluation is the process of making decisions and giving marks to students, the test examination results. And test examiners generally have different opinions from each other. Although the parameters used for the assessment are the same, each examiner can provide a different standard of assessment. The problems in the assessment of thesis exams involving many examiners can be solved by group decision making, or GDM. According to the case study, the fuzzy approach is used to solve the problem, and evaluation alternatives are used to determine the thesis examination. In our project and our research, the problem of determining the parameters of this exam for students in obtaining a bachelor degree is evaluated when selected to determine and right decision. In this thesis exam, three examiners are involved as decision makers. The problem to be solved is determining the level of importance of the parameters used in the thesis examination. Determination of the importance of this parameter is used as the basis for making decision or consideration at the thesis examination. So, the students are declared to pass, repeat, or fail. There are three alternative graduation components: S1 passing the exam, S2 repeating the exam, and S3 is failing. To select the right alternative from the decision-making group in this research, there are several stages that we use. The first is how we determine the alternative, and the second is how to determine the selection criteria. The third is how to give the performance rating of the alternative and the weight of the criteria. The fourth stage is how to make aggregation of performance rating and criteria weights to produce an overall performance index for all alternative and criteria. And the last stage is how to select to get the best alternative. In our discussion in our project, each of these alternative is built from 5 parameters, namely P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5. P1 is a presentation, P2 is oral examination, P3 is attitude, P4 is trial application or system, and then P5 is thesis report. There are 3 examiners involved as decision makers, E1, E2, and E3. And we have a linguistic form that used to facilitate the assessment of decision makers when modeling uncertainty and imprecision in multi-attribute group decision-making problems or from examiners. The next step is to prioritize decision-making alternative based on the aggregation result. This priority is required to categorize decision-making alternative, and the aggregated results are represented by a triangular fuzzy number. The level of optimism, or we can say A, used to solve this case area is A equal with a 0, and then A equal with a 0.5, and A equal with 1. Based on the result in this table, for each degree of optimism, each alternative value can be calculated. And the complete calculation for all alternative with other degrees of optimism can be seen in table 1. Each of these alternatives is put from 5 parameters, and then in one of that, there is the next step to prioritize of decision-making alternative, and then this problem and this figure, we can see that for each different degree of optimism, the highest rank is the second alternative S2, and then the second alternative is recommendation to repeat of the thesis examination. And the next alternative is S3. It means that the student is failed in the examination. And the lowest rank is S1. It means that the student is passed on the examination. So our project, we can conclude in my conclusion that the conclusion of our research shows that a fuzzy group decision-making model was developed to assist decision makers in selecting the most preferred alternative while taking into account the preferences of the various decision makers. This paper offered fuzzy number at the arithmetic interval in the group decision-making process, and according to the case study, the fuzzy approach is used to solve the problem, and evaluation alternatives are used to determine the thesis examination. The process is the process of unifying the opinions of decision use release numbers at arithmetic intervals. I think my presentation is enough. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Any question? Floor? Okay, thank you, Mr. Edwin Arno. Applause for the presentation.
Thank you very much.